Many young disabled adults are not fulfilling their potential because of a lack of government support. That's according to the founder of a charity that helps those young people achieve their ambitions. Jane Holmes set up Building for the Future because of her own experiences after her daughter Kitty was born 24 years ago. I'm journalist Angela Walker, and in this podcast I talk to inspirational people and discuss underreported issues. Jane, welcome.
Thank you.
You've done so much to help young adults who've got special needs, and I want to hear all about the charity in a short while. But first, I'd like to ask you about Kitty. What can you tell me about her?
Well, she'll be 24 in November, actually. She has severe athetoid cerebral palsy, which means that her movements are completely uncontrolled. So she has very little functional and movement of her body at all. She is unable to walk. She uses a wheelchair. She is non-verbal, which means that she communicates via a communication aid. She is tube fed. She's always been nil by mouth because her swallowing function is uncoordinated. Her hands she can do some things with her hands, but basically she needs help with everything. But she is bright, inquisitive, and good fun to be around.
And in addition to all that, she's a real achiever. So I know she's got a lot of physical disabilities, but academically, she's done really well, hasn't she?
She has done really well, all things considered. So she's very good at maths, and she's currently coming to the end of her studying towards an access course. She completed several photography qualifications while she was at her special school. She's got GCSE maths, unlike her mother, and she's completed very many entry level qualifications as well. But she is on track to start an undergraduate course in September.
That's amazing. And from a practical point of view, how does she take part in academic studies and so on?
Well, she needs a helper because she communicates two ways. One by pointing to letters of the alphabet on a board, or in the case of her math studies, obviously a board with figures on it. But she needs somebody to input anything that she says into a computer, and sometimes she needs help holding her arms steady, because, as I said earlier, her movements are quite uncontrolled. So whereas you and I would be able to point precisely, she's a bit sort of like that, and so she needs someone to steady her arm for her. And she also has an eye gaze communication aid, which, as the name suggests, she works by it picks up the movement of her eyes on a screen, and she can communicate that way. But that's terribly slow and quite frustrating for her. So she actually prefers the sort of what we call low tech method of communicating and just pointing to letters on a board.
And I mean, she's done so much. She's done quite a variety of things,
Yes.
actually. Does she enjoy studying then?
She loves it. I mean, well, she got fed up towards the end of her time in full-time education. I think lockdown didn't help because, of course, she was home for 6 months and then back and then home for another few months. And she sort of was over and done with it by then. You know, she was 21 years old, and it was incredibly difficult for her to settle back into her studies. The teacher that she really liked had gone and so on, so she just sort of lost the reins really, but it didn't take long after she'd left full-time education for her to decide that she wanted to go back to it. So we're really pleased about that, because she is creative. She's written some fantastic short stories. She's even written a film for the BBC, short film, under the new creative scheme. But to make a career or any kind of fulfilling work out of that is obviously very competitive, very difficult. So she still has that as an interest, and she may go back to it later on. But at the moment, her mind is on her studies.
I want to ask you, Jane, do you think because Kitty's got obvious physical disabilities that people underestimate her mental capabilities?
Oh, 100%. I mean, it's just so frustrating. Even people that have known her for quite some time, talk to her in a sort of baby voice and go, "Hello, Kitty, are you okay?" And she sort of puts up with it. She finds it frustrating, of course, and sometimes she does get cross. But people that get to know her and actually dig a little deeper soon start to realise that actually she is age appropriate in very many ways, certainly sort of socially, academically, emotionally, and they soon adjust their pitch.
Well, I mean, Kitty's fortunate in that she's got you as a mum who's,
Thank you.
advocating for her for all these years and helping her to achieve her potential. But I feel, not everybody's in that situation. And I know that you feel that the support isn't always there to enable everybody to fulfill their potential. What do you think could be done to help?
Well, I mean, it is very difficult. I mean, the love obviously for your child drives you on, but we are very fortunate in our family because we are a two-parent family and a one-child family, and the us parents we're still together, and so it's made things a lot easier for us than it is for some other families. I think it's important to say. It's very true that, as they say, the squeaky wheel gets the grease. The more you hassle service providers, the better service you get. And those of us with more time and more energy to hassle, it's quite clear that families with more push, if you like, more time and more energy, do get provision for their children, which is strikingly unfair, because there are families who are managing, parents who are managing on their own with several other kids and so on. So part of the reason for setting up the charity was to provide parent support, because of those situations. I mean, we meet families all the time who are really struggling, and constant feeling of guilt, that they should be doing more. I mean, every parent feels that to an extent, I think, but it's compounded when your child has an extra need, because the service provision is very limited. I mean, councils and health authorities are cash strapped. They spend a huge amount of money on disability, in one form or another. I think the adult social care bill, for our local council, for example, is the biggest bill they have. And a lot of children are not able, of school age, are not able to be educated in the borough, so they have to be sent away, which is not what families want, actually. But it's very, very costly. I think my daughter's school fees were about £300,000 or £400,000 a year, and she was there for 10 years. I mean, it's a ridiculous amount of money to have to spend on one child, when actually a provision could have been made in borough.
So you'd like to see what, perhaps more special schools like locally?
Yes, I think I'd like to see more. I mean, when you take the whole breadth of children with disabilities, by far the biggest group are children who are on the autistic spectrum, or children with learning difficulties, and so those groups are understandably the groups that are provided for the most, and that does go into adulthood as well. But there are children, and obviously adults, young adults, and not so young adults, who have physical disabilities but are more mainstream in socially, emotionally, academically. And they need a specific type of provision. You can't shoehorn somebody with no learning disability into a school that specialises in learning disabilities, yet that does still happen.
So we need to see like a distinction really between the provision and
Yes.
the disability that the
Yes,
person has
yes.
got.
And they are, I mean, the local area, they are providing more special schools, but I think they are, again, for people with children with autism,
Okay.
as opposed to physical disabilities. But let's hope that the tanker is turning on that one.
Does it feel like it's turning?
I think there's more of a long-term view being taken by service providers. So whereas I've been watching our local authority particularly for 20 years, and they tend to work from one budget to the next without taking a longer term view. So I think that is happening now. I think the council is thinking, well, okay, it may take us 5 years to produce this provision, educational provision, but it's worth it in the long run because it will save money. I think that's how they're looking at it. So yes, there is a longer view being taken, which is good.
You know, you took matters into your own hands, really, didn't you? With
Yeah.
you set up Building for the Future, which is just a fantastic centre in Wokingham.
Thank you.
Tell me about it.
Well, I mean, really, the charity came about. I mean, it was by no means just me, by the way, but we originally, a group of parents, got together back in 2003, in fact, and we all had children with physical disabilities, and we all together set up a charity called Peapods. And that was a very small support group for just for children, families with children with physical disabilities, and we just did really well. And we raised lots of money, and we started talking, and we realised that there was nowhere where we could take our children. That we could hire church halls and so on, but there was nowhere that they could call their own. Uh, a couple of us from Peapods got together with parents of children with different types of disabilities. So we were then covering a much wider spectrum. And we set up Building for the Future in 2007. And that was with a view to opening a community centre, play centre for children with all different types of disability. And we achieved that. It took us 7 years, and we had lots of help. We had a very strong support from local business community, and we opened the doors of our centre. Well, I say we opened our centre. It was actually Prince Edward and the then Countess of Wessex who opened our centre in 2014, and we are now bursting at the seams. That the centre has been used on a pretty much daily basis for 10 years by children, so it's pretty trash now. And it's just not big enough. We don't have much outdoor space. There's not enough indoor space. We are now reaching the point where we've already having to turn groups away. We are nearing the point where we're going to have to turn families away, which we really mustn't do, because that is the whole point. We're inclusive. We don't turn people away. And so we are now looking to grow, moving to a bigger centre. We are in talks about that at the moment. But yes, that's all in early days. But yes, it's been a labour of love. It really has.
And you'll need money for that, won't you? I'm going to put the details for your website on the show notes
Thank
to this
you.
podcast. If anyone's listening and they've got some money and they want to help out,
Well, yes,
they
definitely.
can contact you.
Oh, we are always raising money. I mean, to run our charity, it's about 150 to 160,000 pounds a year, and that's sort of all in, if you like. Which, when you consider that we are supporting over 500 families a year, it's cheap actually. And we have been described by a lifeline by very many families. But we are always raising money. We always need money to operate. We don't take any grants from the council or the government or the health service. All of the money that we need to run our charity, we raise ourselves. But we're also looking for help in kind. I mean, we have a building that we are in the negotiation stages at the moment. And if we get it, which please let us get it, then we will be looking for help with everything from legal support, flooring, bathroom fitting, kitchen fitting, painting, decorating, garden clearing, you name it. So it's not just money that we are looking for. We're also looking for anybody who might like to come and help us in kind, which is something that we obviously then that will helps us save money in the long run as well.
You said just then that people have described the facilities as a lifeline.
Yes.
Why is it so important to people, do you think?
I think because there is nowhere quite like it, and we are fully inclusive and we're open all the time. I mean, our centre is used by various groups during the sort of school day when our clients, our guests, the children that usually use the centre are at school. But we run Saturday clubs we run 4 Saturday clubs a month, and we have holiday clubs and so on. We don't require people to be members. We don't charge anything. So we don't even ask for people to book, because we know as parents how difficult that can be. And when you've got a disabled child, you don't want to have to book and pay for something only to find out that you've had a bad night and you can't, or the child is ill or having a meltdown or whatever. So it's very easy for families to use our centre. And we are completely accepting. There are families that come and use our centre that can't take their children anywhere else, and often families with maybe two children where one is disabled and one is mainstream. They often have to do things separately. So one parent will take one child somewhere and the other parent will stay at home with the disabled child, or take them for a drive in the car or whatever. But where we are, our centre is called Our House, because we want it to be a home from home. That is a place where families can come and be together. So that I think is quite a unique experience for some families. Yeah.
And within the house, I've seen some pictures. It's really bright and colourful.
Yes.
Talk me through the rooms in there and what kind of activities you do and how they help people.
Sure. Well, it's a wide open space with sort of various partitions. We have a soft play area, a ball pool. We have various play areas. We've got so many different toys. We have a computer pod with accessible switches for anybody who needs them. We have a gaming room with musical instruments, as well as two really good gaming chairs. We have a sensory room. We have a fully accessible bathroom, by which I mean there's a full-size changing bench and hoist. And then we also have a parents' quiet room and a kitchen and a parents' bathroom. Oh, and an office and a little garden. So quite a lot. And I think children come. I mean, they know it. The whole idea was for them to feel that it was theirs, and I think we have achieved that, because they know that there is a place that is just for them, and they are in the majority. And other people have to sort of, ask to come in, if you like. So it is for disabled children, our centre. We don't have any space for young disabled adults. It's one of the reasons why we want to move, because we're still hiring out halls and so on for them. But we hope to give them the same experience that they've been used to as children, because then moving into adulthood, they will then have a place to call their own as well. So I think it's the sense of belonging that they don't often get. It's a sense of acceptance, and that's often the parent as much, if not more, than the child. Because often you see parents, it's heartbreaking, who have struggled to take their children anywhere without getting stared at, tutted at, told they're a bad parent, or children with physical disabilities, they literally can't take them anywhere because they can't get in because there's steps, or the doorway's too narrow, or there's no lift, or whatever. But for them to relax and think, actually, this is working, and you're not going to judge me, and you are going to let us in, and we can use it. I think that's been. It sounds like something simple, but believe me, for families like mine, it isn't. I mean, it is not easy. To get away from the society's expectations, actually. So to be able to provide a place where children, parents, young adults can get away from that and just feel that it is theirs is absolutely invaluable to parents and children.
And from a mental health point of view, what's it like for the families, for the parents to have this space to go to?
Well, you tend to see parents group together quite quickly and talk. I mean, we one of the services we run is a play school for the under fives, and that's a really important group for the parents. I mean, it's nice for the children too, but the parents then, it's very bewildering when having a disabled child, and it's totally overwhelming, and you're suffering from stress and lack of sleep and worry, and then you have to try and navigate the sort of benefit system, the education system, the council system. And so part of the service that we provide at the play school, if you like, is supporting parents, and there are some parents who are exceptionally good advocates. They're the parent group that's run, which exists in order to support parents with fighting for provision for their children. So there's a lot. It's not just us. I mean, there are lots of things that are springing up that are really supportive, but parent to parent support is really invaluable. And there's nothing, number one, they understand, they totally get it. And number two, they've trodden the path. They know what you need, they know what you're entitled to. And for parents to say, have you applied for this or have you seen that? Opens up doors. And I mean, my daughter's 24 this year, and I'm still learning from other parents about things. And I'm hoping that I'm teaching other parents too.
Sounds like such a vital service you're providing, Jane. Now we're under a Labour government for the first time in a very long time.
Yes.
What changes have you seen when it comes to helping families like yours?
Not much, to be honest. I mean, there's a huge worry over the cuts in benefits that are coming up. I mean, that's overwhelming some people with stress. I think it's very wrong. I think they could be recouping money elsewhere. The Labour government is supposed to be, not shy of getting tax from people. So I don't know why they're not pursuing that, and they're instead punishing disabled people. It's actually absolutely appalling, and I'm quite shocked. I'm not very impressed. Our local government is Liberal Democrat. They are certainly quite warm. They will listen, but again, unfortunately, I'm not seeing an awful lot of results so far. Let's hope that that's on its way.
One of the things is about reapplying for some benefits. Is it the PIP payments?
Yes, well, that's exactly it. I mean, they are talking about making people reapply, and all but the most severely disabled people will lose it, and that's how the government is getting money together quickly. I think the knock-on effects of that will be highly detrimental. I think it will end up costing the government much more.
Have you got a message for Keir Starmer about that?
Yes, I suppose I have really. Take a longer view is my message, because this has been tried before. The Conservative government tried to reduce benefits for disabled people. It didn't work. This is a short-term fix, and it's going to have a very detrimental long-term effect, not only on the people involved, but on the government itself. So it's exceptionally short-sighted. I'm quite surprised, really. I thought they had better brains than that.
Thank you, Jane. And just coming back to your new building that you really want for Building for the Future,
Yes.
how much is it going to cost?
Well, we're going to lease the building. If all goes to plan, we're going to lease it, and the rent is about 60,000 a year for the size that we need. We do make quite a bit of money from subletting space to other organisations. So, for example, Reading College use our building for a provision that they give for young disabled adults with profound and multiple learning difficulties, and our space is so accessible, and that we found we're not short of people who want to rent it when our children aren't using it. So that helps us to pay for quite a bit of it. But yes, it is expensive. We have a bit of money ring fenced, but yes, it's certainly. And the thing is, when we get the new building, we're still going to have to run our existing building for. There's got to be an overlap, so we're going to be running two buildings at the same time, because we can't afford for there to be a break in our service.
Sure.
So that's going to be quite challenging, but it has to be done. It just has to be.
And how many people are you helping, and how far, geographically, are they coming to your centre?
Well, funnily enough, I mean, we don't ask people to register because we want to take all pressure off families. But we've a rough estimate. We've about 500 families walk through the door over the course of a year. Actually, I think it's probably quite a bit more than that. But without making people, sign up, we can't be sure. So I'm being conservative, and I say about 500. The young adults that we help, that's a smaller number. We've probably got about 30 to 40 at the moment, but that number's growing all the time, and people are coming forward. Problem with young adults, they leave full-time education, they go home often, and their care provision package is not sufficient. So you quite often see parents in their 50s giving up careers to supplement the care. which is extremely hard, and it means that those young adults find it difficult to access things because there's transport issues, there's care issues, exhaustion issues. So those young adults have taken time to come forward. We are working on supporting the families so that they can. But that's been a slower burn, if you like. But I have every I'm certain that, you know, once we get our base and families know that they can bring young adults, then that will explode. But we're keeping it quiet at the moment. We're not really pushing it because we don't have anywhere for them to go.
And when do you hope to get up and running with the new centre?
Well, I think, you know, if we were to sign on the dotted line today, I think it would probably be 6 months to kit it out, to get it all ready.
So by 2026.
Yes, I think that's realistic. I mean, I'm hoping I would hope sort of September, October time, with a view to open properly. Probably you're right, in January.
Great. Well, good luck with it.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for telling me all about your work, Jane.
Thank you for having me.
And you can find out more about the charity Building for the Future by going to the show notes of the podcast. I'm going to put a website link in there. You've been listening to Angela Walker in Conversation. Please take a moment to subscribe, comment and like the podcast so the algorithm shows it to more people. I hope you've enjoyed the programme. You can find more of my work on my website, angelawalkerreports.com. Until next time, goodbye.